Oh, but we need to get the topic list. And I will make the font nice and big so we can read it. There you go. Looking good. Pleased with that?
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to talk about J-Lo's booty. Good. Hello.
Hey.
My name's Tom. I'm going to be talking about things stuff with Big God. It's going to be good. So
We're in here again, first of all.
Yes, first things first, we're back in here. Partially because I already have all my stuff set up in here and I'm too lazy to move it into the studio to record because I have to keep moving it back and forth at the moment because we've got viewings. It's a pain in the balls. Also, because the whitewashed walls are playing merry havoc with my lighting. It's just like super bleached out, not a good time. So we come in here where it is dark as my soul and I do all artificial lighting and it's a lot easier to deal with in post. So we're back. Also, Megan's not here. She died of hangover related illnesses. Yeah, no, well, the other day she was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it, guys, because I'm hungover. Well, no, she said she was ill. And I was like, alright, what's wrong? Is it butt plague? And she's like, no, I'm hungover. I was like, so you plan to still be hungover when we record? And she was like, yes. So no Megan today. But there is news. Lots of things have happened in the past week, which are very exciting. We'll get the obvious one out of the way first. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He's only going to be bloody Black Adam.
He was my favourite wrestler.
He was the best one. So you've got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is going to be Black Adam in the upcoming Shazam movie.
What's the cliff notes on Black Adam? Because I have no idea who he is.
Okay, Black Adam is the opposite of Captain Marvel, because I don't like calling him Shazam, because that is purely legal reasons. Because originally he was Captain Marvel, who was Billy Batson. He's a teenage kid who gets imbued with the powers of Shazam, 6 Greek gods. It stands for something. They all stand for a god's name, but I forget exactly which one's which. And he gets the powers of all of these Greek gods, and he's going out saving the day. And then there's Black Adam, who is basically like, I think he was originally some sort of ancient Egyptian pharaoh or something, who also got the powers, but he got the powers of like the Egyptian gods. I have not read Captain Marvel in a long time, so this is purely recollection. I might be completely wrong, but he basically has similar sorts of powers, and he's kind of a dick about it. And so he's going out fighting dudes, beating on Captain Marvel.
So he's the bad guy.
He's the bad guy. Black Adam is a villain. He is Captain Marvel's primary villain. He's like one of those ones like they've done with Arkham Knight, where Batman's primary villain is just another Batman. It's the same thing with Captain Marvel's villain is just an evil version of Captain Marvel. But I think The Rock is a better choice for Black Adam than he would have been for Captain Marvel, personally. Good.
Sure.
Yeah,
I agree.
I don't know, I'm all for it. But then obviously you get who would you cast as Captain Marvel? Who would play the titular Shazam?
My knowledge of Captain Marvel is Marvel Ultimate Alliance on the Xbox 360.
Good, that's a good place to start.
So I just knew he punched dudes quite good.
He's good at punching dudes. I suggested to Mark the other day, because he asked, and I said maybe Stone Cold Steve Austin. Because then basically it's just a big budget Hollywood WrestleMania 19.
Yeah.
And I'm all for that. WrestleMania is back when WrestleMania.
Get all wrestlers.
Yeah,
in the
back
film.
when WrestleMania was still respectable. That'd be nice. Back in the 19 was on the turn. 18, that was a good year. Yeah, so you got The Rock playing Black Adam. That's going to be hype. They fight right years and years and years ago. Steven Spielberg bought the rights for his little production company to make a live-action Ghost in the Shell, and then didn't fucking do anything with it.
Nope.
And then many moons later, DreamWorks have gone, well, we'll sort this out for you. And he's like some sort of executive producer or something now. But they're finally actually doing something with it. They've got Margot Robbie in talks to play Major Motoko Kusanagi. which is, I mean, this is the only anime that I've ever really liked, because I'm not much a
No, it
anime
is
fan.
our age-old conversation we always go back to.
Yeah.
It's like you watch Ghost in the Shell, you watch Akira,
Yeah, and
you
then
watch some Studio Ghibli maybe,
Yeah.
and then the rest.
And then you stop. Because it's...
Just goddamn anime.
I just can't get on with the storytelling is too weird, and it's too much. It's too much. But
Anyway.
they're looking at Margot Robbie to play Motoko Kusanagi, which will be
seen
hype.
The Wolf of Wall Street?
I haven't seen The Wolf of Wall Street.
Margot Robbie.
she's in The Wolf of Wall Street. She's also going to be in the new Tarzan film, which is coming out in 2016, I believe. They're doing a new Tarzan film because
There was one recently.
there was an anime. Was it an animated
No,
one?
there was a human.
There was a human one recently,
It
but
just
it's not
kind of
that one.
appeared out of nowhere.
Yeah,
No one really knew
it's
why.
not that one. They're doing a new Tarzan
Margot
film,
Robbie.
and she's playing Jane in the Tarzan film.
Wow.
But yeah, so DreamWorks producing it. They've got Rupert Sanders, who was the guy from Snow White and the Huntsman.
That was not a good film.
That was not a good film.
I watched it with Ben and Rich.
Yeah.
And we kind of left the cinema and went, yeah, it wasn't that bad. And
Yeah.
then in the journey home from
think
Basildon
about
to
it.
Whitford,
Yeah.
we'd completely deconstructed the whole film and turned
Excellent.
out it was crap.
It turns out it was terrible. Good. So he's directing, so that bodes well. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know, I'm in two minds about it, because Ghost in the Shell, I'm going to love it because it's Ghost in the Shell, and I love Ghost in the Shell.
Mm-hmm.
But are they going to completely ruin it because Ghost in the Shell?
It's because Hollywood.
Because Hollywood take in Ghost in the Shell, and it's like you cannot dumb down Ghost in the Shell. It is a very complex movie about like philosophy when it comes down to it. It's like, at what point, as someone getting cybernetic replacements, at what point do they stop being human and start being a robot? And do they still have a soul left if they've had every part of them replaced with machinery?
They might Deus Ex Human Revolution it, which dealt with that question, but seriously dumbed it down a lot.
Okay.
Where it was more about the human political side of it instead of the philosophical
Philosophical.
that side of
that
it.
one, yeah.
And then you made a binary choice at the end because video games.
Yeah. Do you A, shoot the mans, or B, not shoot the man? So if they can pull it off, I'll be all for it. I personally want it to be a success, just so they will make a big live action version of Ghost in the Shell Innocence, which
Is that the second one?
second one.
I haven't seen it.
Oh my god. Right. Controversial opinions. I preferred it to the first one.
Whoa!
Yeah. I think it is better than the first one. It is so good.
Wow.
Because it's about Bato and that guy, the human guy with the gun. He's got that awesome six-shooter. He's like Bato's little mate.
Yeah.
And I can't remember his name, but it's the two of them because Motoko is somewhere lost in the internet, and it's basically Reboot, which was
What
a great
TV
cartoon.
series.
Great cartoon.
Great.
They should bring that back. They should bring back Reboot. It was a great show. So there's bloody Bato and his little mate are going off solving crimes, and there's this whole thing where you don't know it's basically about like people who have got cybernetic brains are being hacked because it leaves them open to hacking, and so it gets to a point where you don't know what's real and what has been implanted by this evil guy, and it's a pretty good film. Also, it is beautiful because it's got your standard anime foreground with fully CG rendered background. So it's very pretty. It's a very pretty film. So would suggest Ghost in the Shell Innocence, good time. They're also on the subject of the things that are happening. Amazon Prime, who have taken to making their own stuff now, there's rumours. There is no truth in these, but there are rumours that they're going to do a new series of The Tick, which was for the uninitiated, was a TV show that I think only ran for one season, and there were only like 10 episodes or something, based on the cartoon from the 90s, and it came out in like early 2000s with Patrick Warburton as The Tick. who is a superhero who doesn't know anything. He's an idiot. He's completely insane, and he dresses up as a tick. He's got a big blue costume and a little wiggly antenna.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's about him and his sort of neurotic sidekick Arthur, who dresses up as a moth. He's got a moth costume, but the problem is when he hasn't got his wings out, he just looks like a bunny rabbit because he's got the big. So people think he's a bunny rabbit. And then they changed it because in the cartoon there was, I think it was American Maid, who was like a woman in a maid outfit covered in stars and stripes, who was like, yeah, America, and Deflator Mouse, who was a Batman ripoff.
Right. And
then in the TV show they changed it to be, I think it was something like Miss Liberty, who was same premise basically, like, yeah, America. And then back to Manuel, who, played by Nestor Carbonell, was like a really skeezy Batman who was always hitting on chicks, and he was being a superhero so he could pick up ladies. Probably one of the greatest superhero shows ever made. It's so good. And and there's rumour that Amazon are going to relaunch it. I'd be so happy about this.
I'd watch it.
It's good. It's really good. Because the old cartoon was fantastic as well. That only ran for a few seasons.
I think I've seen the cartoon, but I haven't seen the TV show.
Yeah, because the cartoon obviously was a lot more weird because like you had villains like Chairface Chippendale, who was a madman who had a chair for a head, just a straight up chair. He was like a guy in a suit and he had a waistcoat and then a chair, like a wooden.
They're taking the Nintendo approach to villains.
Yeah, that's it. So he had a chair for a head and he wanted to write his name on the moon. And that was in like one of the very first episodes. It might have even been the first episode. And he started writing Chairface Chippendale on the moon, and he only got as far as cha, and then like they stopped him. But then for the rest of the series, anytime it was at night and you had the moon in the back, it just had cha written on the moon. I was like, that's a nice touch, nice touch. You also had Pineapple Pocopo, who was like Kingpin, but he was a pineapple. El Cid, who was a Spanish revolutionary, also a sunflower. It was a pretty good show for villains. So, so the Tick might be coming back, which would make me happy.
I haven't seen much Amazon Prime stuff.
No, so what was the big one they did?
The big one they've got now is Extant, which is the sci-fi thing with Halle Berry.
Oh, I've heard of this. I know nothing about it.
She goes to the moon or something, and then she comes back and something's not right. I don't know. I saw a trailer and thought I might watch it, and then I never watched it.
You didn't, yeah. What was the one that they did do that was the big one? Because there was one that came out a while ago, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, you need to watch it," and then I don't know what it was.
Vikings.
Might have been Vikings.
Oh, Black Sails, the pirate thing.
Yes, the pirate one. That's the one I got excited about, and then I was like, "But I can't watch it because I'm not going to bother with Amazon Prime."
No.
Basically, but. I was going to say, you make any show that basically looks like Game of Thrones but pirates, I'm going to watch it.
Vikings was Game of Thrones but with
but
a
Vikings.
tenth of the budget.
Yeah. Apparently that's really good though. That's made by the History Channel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
No, I thought that looked really cool.
Ah.
It's supposed to be like the hypest shit. So, all in good time. I'll get around to it.
Yeah.
Moving away from video news into video game news. Standalone expansion for Saints Row 4. Which comes as quite a surprise since Saints Row 4's been out for a million years.
Yeah.
And like there's been no expansions. And then all of a sudden, several moons later, Volition have gone, hey guys, we made a new one. And so out comes Saints Row 4, Get Out of Hell. So
clever.
The gist of it is you as the president are kidnapped by Satan, who wants to marry his daughter to you so he can merge the realms or something Mortal Kombat-esque like that. And
it's Saints Row. Does it really matter?
Doesn't need to make sense. And then Johnny Gat, and if you're playing in co-op mode, which is a new thing, Kinsey as well, Johnny Gat basically goes into hell to fight Satan and rescue you as the president.
Wow.
So you play as Johnny Gat with like flying powers and superpowers because obviously
didn't Saints Row 4 essentially become a Crackdown though?
Yes, which I really liked Saints Row games. I'm not gonna lie.
I haven't played any of them.
They're really good. The thing
they're always the sort of games that I go, yeah, Steam sale, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it comes in the Steam sale, and it's £7.
And you're like, oh, £7. I would say, because the thing is, when they first brought out Saints Row, the first Saints Row was trying to be GTA.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was trying to be GTA. It wasn't necessarily a bad game, but it was trying to be GTA. And then they did the second one, and they were like, all right, let's try and make it a little sort of more sillier, but still reasonably serious. There was a couple of silly side missions, but when it comes down to it, the theme of the game was still very like, ooh, we got to take down corporations trying to come in here on gang territory kind of thing.
Yeah.
By the third one, out the window, fuck it. Let's make a silly game. So that's when they went to Steelport, which is where things got weird. So that's when you start having like a Mexican wrestler guy who like runs a gang, and he was the best one. I love the Mexican wrestler gang; they were really cool.
The silly purple dildo.
You had the dildo bat was when that one came in. So 3 just got completely silly, and then in 4 they were like, well, we've done like completely off the rails silly. How about we take that and make it like a sci-fi sort of Matrix-esque thing where our characters are taken into a recreation of Steelport run by like this alien overlord, and then they can hack the system to unlock superpowers for themselves. And then every now and again you had like overworld missions where you would sort of come out of the Matrix and you're on a spaceship and you'd have to do missions on the space. And it was all done in a very silly tone. Really good game. I liked it because it did right. Here we go. I'm ready for the backlash. Better than GTA 5. GTA 5 is boring.
I'll probably agree with you if I played it, to be honest.
GTA 5 was, it was sound mechanically, and it had a good enough story. The main story was very good, and it had the humour, which I'm all for that. Radio stations weren't as good as usual, but we'll let you off. Mainly because there wasn't enough Laszlo. That's the problem. There wasn't enough Laszlo radio stations.
It wasn't a good classic rock station.
No, it was all like bullshit. So
crap.
I always had the country radio station on because it was the least terrible station. But all in all, it was bland. I played it and I was like, well, alright. And I stopped playing it after a while and went back to it and finished it at a later date because I was like, well, I probably should. But yeah, and like, it was alright, but it wasn't very interesting. Whereas Saints Row 4, it was madness. It was brilliant fun.
Ridiculous.
It was just silly fun, jumping around, fighting dudes, getting silly weapons. There was a gun that shot black holes, which
what mod you on?
Is my favourite gun because you fire it and it just sucks everything into it and then explodes. It's really cool. So Saints Row, I'm hyped for that. It's coming out in January, in case anyone wondered. It's a digital download for all the existing stuff, but if you want it on PS4 or Xbox One, they're re-releasing Saints Row 4.
Oh, nice.
For those, and it comes bundled together. So
very cool.
As a disc. So that would be quite cool. Yeah, it's all kicking off really. I'm trying to think what else has happened. Let's have a look. Right, we're gonna resort to Facebook trending. What's Facebook trending got for us? Absolutely nothing. Jennifer Lopez wants you to check out her booty. Thank you, Facebook. Roger Federer won at tennis.
Yeah, Murray lost on Wednesday.
Kill surprise.
Against Djokovic.
Oh, well, of course he did, because Djokovic is good at tennis. Yeah.
That's not interesting at all.
No.
It's all football and sports.
That's the problem. Now the football season started, everyone's talking about bloody football. I don't care.
England played a friendly the other day.
Did they lose?
No, we actually won.
What?
We won 1-0. Rooney scored a penalty.
That's exciting.
It was. I watched the first half, and it was the most tedious game of football. He's the captain now.
Is he?
He's the captain.
God, I don't trust him to be captain of anything. Terrifying concept. Let me think. Well, there was last time we were in here, we were talking about Doctor Who and how it was going to be good. We've watched it.
It's not
It's not bad. not bad. And this is coming from, I am a hardcore Whovian. I love my Doctor Who. It's alright. I really like Peter Capaldi. I am a huge fan of grumpy, sarcastic Doctor. Big fan of that. I'm having a great time. Because I was saying, like, in that second episode, the Into the Dalek episode, where there's a couple of lines in that. The one that sticks out is when he introduces Clara to Michael Smiley's in it, because Ben Wheatley. Yeah. So he introduces Clara, and he's like, she's not my assistant, what's the word? And she's like, carer. I was like, oh, it's a funny little joke. And he's like, yeah, she's my carer. She cares so I don't have to. And I'm like, that's a nice touch. Because it's got to a point where he doesn't care what people think, he just wants to get shit dealt with. And I kind of like that. So I'm a fan of Capaldi. I'm having a great time there.
Later with the antibodies as well. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, where the Dalek antibodies are attacking some dude. And the Doctor's like, quick, swallow this, and throws in this little pill. And the guy's like, oh, and he swallows it. And then he gets lasered to death by the antibodies. And the other soldier's like, why didn't it save him? And he's like, oh, he was dead anyway. I was just doing that so we can track his remains. Oh, shit. He's a little more a fan of collateral damage. So, that's good.
I think that guy was in Game of Thrones who died. Oh. So, you know.
Well, Game of Thrones.
Keeping up with the TV shows.
That's the thing. Season 5 of Game of Thrones is
that was big news.
Yeah,
Bran and
Hodor.
Not in it.
They're completely cutting them out. Apparently that entire story is going to wait till season 6 and they're going to do a big chunk about it then. Which is fair, because in the books, not a lot happens with Bran and Hodor for a while.
They just hang out with the guy.
Yeah.
Avoiding spoilers.
Yeah, I was going to say, although, I mean, like I said, I have not really watched the show in any great detail. I have read the books, but I have discovered that they've done quite a few changes lately. Season
big hoo-ha about the end of this.
Yeah, season 4 apparently quite different. Couple of main characters no longer main characters. So that's intriguing. But yeah, well, that should do anyway. It's about right. I feel we've covered all the important topics, or at least the non-depressing important topics. The important topics in the world of entertainment.
Yes.
Not the important topics in the world of world news, because we don't want to upset you. Yeah, I was going to say, we are aware of these things. We're not like purposely ignoring them. We are aware of them. We just try and keep it light, because you know we know the world is falling apart. Let's just try and ignore that for now. All right. I'm going to talk about films and the
video
Rock.
Games.
Films and video games and the Rock. Good. So yeah, we will. I think we'll still be here next week, won't we? So yeah, we should be back next week. So we'll give you one more before it's time for Safehouse in Vegas, which you should all be hyped for, because I'm hyped for.
I'm hyped for Vegas.
I'm hyped for Vegas. So yeah, we'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.
Bye-bye.